Welcome to the deep dive. So we're jumping straight into this stack of material you sent over. It's all about a really powerful alternative, it seems, to traditional software development, the whole world of no-code and low-code platforms.
That's right. Yep.
These sources, they really paint a picture of how, non-technical people can now actually build custom applications.
They really do. And the sources give a great overview, diving into what these platforms are, a bit of their history, the different types you see out there, and the specific benefits. And yeah, they focus quite a bit on Google AppSheet, which, based on the material, looks like a pretty significant player.
Okay, so our mission here for this deep dive is basically to unpack all this material. We want to pull out the most important bits, the nuggets, and help you understand not just what no code is,
Right.
but maybe more importantly, why it matters now in today's world, and how AppSheet fits in, and also some things you need to consider.
Yeah, think of it as your shortcut, maybe. A way to get right to the heart of how creating apps is becoming, way more accessible than it ever used to be.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The core idea, the real driver behind no code, according to these sources anyway, it seems pretty simple on the surface. It's finding ways for businesses and individuals, too, to build the apps they need fast without, needing tons of coding knowledge or having to hire developers for everything.
Exactly. It's about empowerment.
Okay, so we've covered a fair bit in this deep dive, digging into your sources on no-code platforms and specifically Google AppSheet.
Yeah, quite a journey through the material.
We looked at those incredible benefits they highlighted, like the really accelerated development,
Right, the speed.
increased efficiency, and that big one, empowering business users, the people actually doing the work.
And we touched on the different types, the sort of history of AppSheet itself, its key features,
Yeah.
things like that mobile-first design,
Oh, yeah, that stood out.
and its integration capabilities. Not just Google Sheets and Excel, but, even proper databases like AWS DynamoDB and MySQL were mentioned.
And we saw how it's actually being used, the real-world stuff.
Yeah.
Inventory management, field service. Even education popped up.
And importantly, we also considered the potential limitations that sometimes come up with these kinds of platforms.
Right, you have to look at both sides. Things like maybe restrictions in really deep UI customization or data capacity concerns, handling huge files.
Integration challenges with really old or specific systems, too.
Yeah, those things. But it was interesting how the sources noted that platforms like AppSheets are actively working to, tackle a lot of those.
That specific note about AppSheet overcoming many limitations was quite prominent in the material.
It really is fascinating, though, how this tech is like democratizing app creation,
Yeah,
just making it accessible to so many more people.
absolutely. And you heard those numbers, what was it, 200,000 AppSheet creators globally?
Yeah, and the search trends for it shooting up significantly. That shows real growing interest.
So if we kind of zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture, the sources kept coming back to the principles of rapid application development, RAAD,
Right.
and how these platforms really embody that, allowing for much faster iteration, being more responsive to changes.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Mm.
Thinking about what this actually means for you listening right now. Whether you're maybe a business user trying to streamline workflows, maybe an educator creating interactive stuff, or, just someone with an idea for an app.
Yeah, could be anything.
Platforms like AppSheet, especially with things like a free personal plan option, they are seriously lowering that barrier to entry.
Which naturally leads to a pretty important question, doesn't it? If the ability to create custom applications is becoming this accessible, what task, maybe something manual or overly complex right now, could you potentially transform using a no-code solution? The sources suggest the possibilities are already huge, and they're just growing.
It really does make you think, doesn't it? About where technology is heading when building an app isn't just for, expert coders anymore. So reflecting on this deep dive,
Yeah.
what really stands out to you from the material we went through?
For me, it's probably the sheer potential for innovation. Just thinking about what happens when almost anyone can build the specific tools they need or imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a really powerful thought to end on. We certainly hope this deep dive into your source material was valuable and maybe gave you some great insights into this whole world of no-code and AppSheet.